Hello everyone, and welcome to the hashtag Inspiring Success Disc Golf Championship here at the beautiful site of Pantherhills Golf Course. I'm Gus T, and alongside me is my co-host, Andy Hyzer. Andy, what do you think about today's course here at PES?
Well, welcome here, Gus T. This is a gorgeous course created by the famous disc golf designer, Mr. Bolduc, who just happens to be a pretty decent disc golfer himself. Now, this course is an open field course, but he makes use of his surroundings very well. And I think the golfers are in for quite the challenge this afternoon, depending on the course conditions. And also I've heard that they've been having issues with some pesky gophers recently on the course as well. So Gusty, be on the lookout for those varmints.
Well, hopefully their head's groundkeeper, Carl Spackler, has been able to take care of that issue. I've heard that he's had a dickens of a time trying to get those varmints out. Let's take a closer look at the course and see what the golfers will be looking at today. Andy, could you give us a tour of the golf course today?
Absolutely. You mentioned, first of all, Carl Spackler. He was quite the Cinderella story back in his day, Gusty. I don't know if you remember those.
I do.
Those tournaments. But golfers have a chance to get off to a good start to their round on this first hole. It's a straight-on par 4, 60-foot hole with no obstructions. However, it is easy for players to get too aggressive and can miss out on a great opportunity for a birdie.
We would hate to see another incident similar to the Roy McIlroy meltdown in 1996. I'm sure you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it may be a short walk to hole number 2, but that won't be the case while playing. This is the longest hole in the course at 125 feet. Going straight across the middle of the soccer field and landing at the second base area of the baseball field, Mr. Bolduc did not waste any time increasing the difficulty with this long par 5 hole.
And things don't seem to get any easier, Gusty, as we get to this par 4 third hole. Starting from the pitcher's mound, it looks like we have our first hazard. Players will need to determine the best throw to get around it, and the weather will play a factor in that. This hole is 60 feet, 6 inches from start to finish, kind of an oddly specific distance, if you ask me, Gusty.
Well, I agree, but maybe Mr. Bolduc knows what he's doing. Anyways, Andy, back to the course. Here at the 4th hole, we have a very difficult short par 3. It's only 25 feet, but that fence is going to force those right-hand players to use a forehand shot. Still, an ace is always an option hand.
And it's a bit of a walk to the 5th tee box, but we see that this sneaky par 5 could be overlooked by many players. It's another long hole, about 100 feet from the tee to basket, but as you can see, that pesky wishing well will be a nasty hazard to avoid as it's so close to the basket. Players may want to wish their disc well on this hole and tell that disc to go to its home.
Dynamite drop in, Andy. Well, making our way to the 6th hole, we see that it's so windy the tee has fallen over. The tee is tucked behind the press box, which will make this par 3 35-foot hole a beast, as the press box can be difficult to manage, especially for left-handed players. But a well-placed forehand or hyzer shot should put them in a good position to birdie this hole.
And the 7th hole is an unassuming 55-foot par 4. The distance is certainly manageable by most players, yet that shed lurking behind the basket may give some of them trouble. If a disc hits the shed in the air, that would be a penalty stroke added to their score.
That could certainly hurt their confidence as we head to this par 5 8th hole, Andy. At 80 feet, it's the 3rd longest hole in the course, yet the hazards are the hardest part. I've seen many players get stuck on the wrong side of that soccer goal and have a dickens of a time getting their disc to the other side. An X-step plus an Anheuser throw for righties will help keep their scores low. If not, a bogey could be in their forecast.
But a bogey on that hole would get me doing the bull dance, Gusty. Even if they do bogey it, the 9th hole should give them a chance at redemption and close out their round on a good note. This 60-foot par 4 is void of any hazards and should allow players to freely attack the target.
And that brings us back to the beginning of the course, where players may continue their round if they wish. We would like to wish all the players good luck in today's round and look forward to seeing some great play. For Andy Hyzer and PESN Sports, I'm Gus T. Back to you, Mr. Bolduc.